Hello, this is Dutch Masters sitting in for Mark Schaftlein at the Schaftlein Report. You've seen me on Fox News, Fox Business. Mark is traveling overseas, and I am very pleased to be sitting in for Mark today for the show. And what I plan to do for you today is go over some news that's happening related to the stock market and politics. And things that affect the stock market. We are traders at Carnivore Trading. That's my company, and that's really what we do. We are swing traders. We also identify economic things that are happening in the economy. We identify macro trends that are taking place sort of worldwide. We provide a lot of research to our Carnivore family, which is a family of Hall of Fame traders throughout the world, the United States, and 7 other countries. So let's get right to it. We've got news, we've got market information, and up-to-date market stuff going on. And I'm even going to give you 5 stocks that are non-tech stocks, 5 technology stocks that are absolute beasts. Now, we call them the beasts over here at Carnivore Trading, and then some very high quality, high octane growth stocks that I think that you'd be interested in. My attitude about this 5, 5, and 5 is that that's 15 stocks I'm going to give you later to talk about and to look at on your own. And when you look at those, if you bought all 15 of them and you just went away for a year, you probably do really, really well. That's my attitude. As long as the market doesn't crash and Biden doesn't, take us to he doesn't give Zelensky a nuclear bomb. We may also talk about Ukraine a little bit because we're quite deep into that. It's something of real interest to us. And so we'll get into that. So let's talk about the news here real quick. First of all, some news items for you. The GOP has come out and said that now they believe, this is today, they believe that about $100 million has been flowed, through the Biden family, phony accounts that they set up to try to mask what was happening over the years. So it's not 10 million, it's 100 million now that they are pointing to. So that's what the GOP seems to say. Next news item is John Carrey running around on his private jet, talking about climate change and trying to get everybody to spend trillions of dollars on something that a lot of people and a lot of country leaders out there are questioning as whether it's a big boondoggle for John and the other neocons out there. But the reality is that we at Carnivore don't necessarily believe that. We believe that climate change, along with a lot of other crazy stuff that's being talked about, might be one of the biggest cons of all time, maybe bigger than the phony pandemic that we just went through. And what happened there was a tragedy, and we won't relive that because it's not a lot of fun to talk about, and nobody likes to talk about it, and everybody is now learning what the truth is there. But climate change has been something they have been pounding on for a long time. John Kerry being the #1 guy on the planet, running around and trying to get people to sign on to whatever crazy stuff he's talking about. And the reality is that right now he's getting thrown out of these meetings with these foreign leaders, and they're literally laughing at this guy behind his back. They are literally saying, this guy is asking us to do stuff that makes 0 sense for our country, period. Just get out of my office. You're a lunatic. See you later. Nice to have met you. Okay, news item number 3 here. Something interesting you guys might be weight loss. Let's talk about weight loss. Now, I'm going to tell you a personal experience here. I've personally lost about 75 pounds, and I did it basically with what the world knows as Ozempic, but the molecule is called semaglutide. So you go to a wellness doc and you say you want to lose weight, and the FDA approved this thing about a year ago called Ozempic. Semaglutide is the molecule that they call it. Yeah, you take a shot in your fat belly, very small, tiny needle. You take a shot in that needle in that belly. You do that once a week. And basically, it eliminates your desire to eat. You have to actually remind yourself within a couple of days. You'll say, hey, wait a minute, I don't think I've eaten anything for like a whole day. And it's true. You got to remind yourself, certainly in the first couple of months that you're on this thing, you're just not hungry. I used to eat like a 12-inch Subway sandwich and just snarf the whole thing, okay? And, you know, now I can't even eat half of a 6-inch Subway sandwich without feeling so full that I just don't want to give the rest to my beautiful Belgian Malinois dogs. So this is something that in the market you can actually play. There is a stock symbol out there, NVO, Nancy Victor Oscar. It's Novo Nordisk. They are the owners of semaglutide molecule patent. Lilly is in the game too. The symbol there is LLY, but it's not as pure of a play. Anyway, you know, we have a resident genius here at Carnivore Trading. We call him Trader Z. Trader Z can be found, you know, occasionally talking about things on Twitter. And he occasionally will dial in and talk with us. He's our resident genius. He says this might become the biggest drug of all time. That's saying a lot when you talk about sort of Viagra going to, I don't know, 6 billion a year in sales or something crazy like that. But think about this, okay? I was talking to a hairdresser yesterday, high-end hairdresser, and I'm talking to you from our headquarters here at the LVX mansion in Las Vegas. And here in Las Vegas, you got a lot of people, a lot of money. And, you know, the women do take good care of themselves around here. It's all part of the bling in the show. So I'm talking to her and I said, what are you hearing about, you know, weight loss and stuff at, you know, at your salon? These are women spending $600, $1,200 for a treatment. Okay. They've got money. They know how to take care of themselves and they don't have a problem spending the money to do so. And she told me something really interesting. And that is that the women talking around the shop are saying, hey, look, honey, I mean, they're literally shaming each other. You know, if they don't have, if they got a few extra pounds, they're literally shaming. I said, there's no excuse for you to be fat, honey. You really need to get on this Ozempic, you know, and you'll just trim up real quick. And I can tell you from personal experience that this has been good for me. Lost a lot of weight, fitting back into a lot of great clothes that I had hanging out in the closets for several years. And it's also taken a lot of, from a health standpoint, you know, my ankles don't hurt, my knees don't hurt anymore. I'm able to start working out a lot easier now and stuff. So it's this is a thing that's happening out there. And again, it's Novo Nordisk. Symbol NVO, and also Lilly has a competitive product. The Lilly product I've heard is much more expensive. Let's see, number 4, let's talk about retail sales. They came in today a little bit soft, but really it was a nothing burger. They weren't so soft that they were considered bad. And that brings up something I want to talk about, which is my new theory on the economy. You know, we have millions and millions and millions of millionaires out there now. And so when we hear everyone talking about recessions and, you know, we have a coming recession here that's about to happen and things like that, the truth of the matter is, yeah, old school recessions may be gone as we know them. We may have already gone through a recession already, and we're coming out of the backside of it and not even know it. That was a theory that was put out on Fox Business by another guest just last week. And I started thinking a lot about sort of what the economy looks like now and how it might have changed over the last 20 or 25 years. and how recessions might actually look, because they don't look like, if this was a recession, it sure didn't look like the old recessions of the old days. In the old days, during a recession, everybody didn't go out. You did staycations. You didn't, you didn't buy, high-end anything, and you didn't go shopping, and you didn't do all that stuff. But today, what we're seeing is, for example, there's a store out there called Our House. It's spelled ARHAUS, Our House. So this is a store really that's tailored to the people who own $1 million and $5 million, $10 million houses. Of which here in Las Vegas, in Henderson and in the suburbs of Las Vegas, you sure have an awful lot of people buying $1, $2, $5, and $10 million houses these days as fast as they can get them. And I started thinking, those people, what do they do? What are they doing? Where it doesn't really matter where they got their money, but they have money. These people, even in what might be a recession or bad times, I started thinking to myself, maybe these people, there's millions and millions and millions of these people now that didn't exist 25 years ago. These are, call them tech millionaires or whatever, but they have money. They just bought a $2.5 million house in Henderson. They're buying furniture for that house, and they're buying it from Our House, and they're buying it, and they're not changing their life the way people changed their lives back in the old day during old recessions. So that's something to consider as you look at what's happening out there and think that the world is going to end and the crash and burn. And so let's get to the markets themselves. The stock market, okay, that's where we live and breathe at Carnivore Trading. You can see us at carnivoretrading.com. There's a 2-week free trial. You're welcome to jump on there and check it out and see how different we really are at Carnivore than anybody else that you see on TV, these other guys. The reality is the stock market had a horrible 2022. We were up about 321%, and that is a validated, audited number by an outside third party. So we were aware of what was happening in the market in 2022. We introduced our carnivore family to a concept called the inverse ETF, which goes up as the markets go down. And that's how we were able to achieve a lot of the return that we got in 2022. So far this year, back in December, we started to identify that might be over with, certainly December and January of this year. So we got rid of the shorts, essentially, the short ETFs, the inverse ETFs, and we started going along some good stocks and stocks that our systems find. We have 2 systems that we use that are proprietary, and they identify not only what the market's doing, but also what sectors of the market are going to do well, and then what stocks in those sectors are going to do well. And as most people don't understand, 4% of all the stocks in the market drive 90% or more of the wealth creation in this country. That is a fact. That fact has been proven out by a professor at a university, Arizona. And he recently issued a report that went back over 100 years that showed that only 4% of the stocks out there drive 90% of the wealth creation in the stock market. So our job at Carnivore is to find you that 4%, and that's what our systems do. So let's talk about what's going on with the markets. First thing that took off in January was the NASDAQ, and it rock and rolled up about 30+% in the first 6 months of the year. And we were looking for let's say a continuation of that, but with the Dow and the S&P and the Russell 2000, we wanted to see them follow suit and go up with the NASDAQ, or at least start to follow it. We've been waiting a while for that to happen. Meanwhile, we were making our money on the way up with NASDAQ type stocks. And here's what happened recently. The S&P broke out and started to break out of its pattern. and also run up. The Dow, and today is a great example of it. It's booming. The Dow is taking off. The Russell 2000 is the last one we want to see move, and it's moving up very nicely, but it has to break out. Here's what we've got going on. The NASDAQ is broken out, obviously, first one to run. S&P 500 has come behind that. Now the Dow is participating. Why is the Dow participating? Because we got financial stocks coming out with earnings. They all have come out in the last couple of weeks. And what we have is they're participating now, which is a big deal because you really want the financials and other sectors to go up, not just be the top 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 tech stocks leading the entire market. Another little fact for you is that in the S&P 500, 25% of the weighting in the S&P 500 is technology. So when you see the S&P moving, you can bet that it's probably because some technology is helping out. Or another way to look at it would be, if technology doesn't go up, then the S&P is going to struggle to go up. So that's kind of our little take on what's happening with the markets, and there's your market overview really quickly. Now, just so you know, I don't see any red lights right now. All right, I really don't. A lot of people are out there talking doom and gloom, and I want to be very clear about something. You can always be looking at stuff out in the market and be listening to the doom and gloomers, and everything's going to crash and burn, and the dollar is going to be devalued, and inflation's too high, and Ukraine's going to blow up, and Russia is going to do this, and there's going to be a new currency, digital currency out there that's going to compete with the dollar, and it's going to be done by the BRICS nations, and it's going to be backed by gold, and we're totally screwed, and all that kind of stuff. Look, you can spend a long time going down each and every one of those rabbit holes. I think that we've all kind of fallen into that from time to time. And the reality is, as traders and as investors, what are you going to do? You got to listen to the tape. It's called read the tape. Look at what the market's doing. Ask yourself, you got to approach the market, by the way, with your arms out and your hands up like this. Tell me what I should be doing. That's what you have to say to the market. Tell me what I should be doing. Come to the market humble and say, I'm not going to bring any of my preconceived notions about what the market should be doing to you. You're the market. It's like the ocean and a surfer. A surfer doesn't go into the ocean and say, well, I'm going to ride this wave. No, he goes into the water and he says, you know what? I'm going to watch what the ocean tells me, because it's all powerful. It is in control. I'm going to ask myself, what wave should I ride? Show me what wave I should be riding. And then I will paddle into that wave and and if it doesn't look like it's the right wave, I'm going to pull back and wait for a better one. The market does that for you too. You're paddling into the market with your money and you're looking at, what stock should I buy? Let the market tell you what it's doing. And what the market is telling us to do right now is buy. All right. Schwab just came out with a statistic that said, as of today, 20% more of the orders coming in from retail investors are buy orders rather than sell orders. So for every one sell order they're getting 1.2 buy orders right now. So the retail investor is coming back. We've all heard about the term FOMO, like fear of missing out. It's starting to happen. And here's another thing. There's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines still. That money still needs to be put to work somewhere. We think it's going to come to work in the market. We think the FOMO is going to go with it. Look at the 10-year interest rate. It's still below 4%. We think that sometime out in October, the Fed's actually going to be forced in October, November to lower rates again because of some cataclysm that they probably self-induced. But the truth of the matter is we've got 4% less rates on the 10-year. It's pretty tame. The VIX which is, of course, a measure of volatility or expected volatility in the market. Once it goes over 20, that's a red alert. It was over 20 for a long time. It's been down at 13 or 14. I mean, this is Goldilocks type stuff. When the VIX is at 12, 13, 14, even 15, it means everything's looking pretty good for the stock markets, okay? And we're at 13 and a half right now. So with the VIX where it is, with all the money on the sidelines, with the tape telling us that the market wants to go up, with 2022 blasting all of the technology stocks all the heck, and us seeing that market bottom out. And now you see stocks like Microsoft going up 20 points a day. You see stocks like Adobe going up 20 points a day. I mean, these are beasts, okay? These are the stocks that make all the money. Let's keep in mind, these are the companies that have 80%, 90% margins, okay? They make gajillions of dollars every minute of every day. So the stocks that are making all the money in the world are done going down, and they're heading back up off the bottom. And so, oh yeah, I have to get to my 15 stocks for you before we close here. So anyway, let's see. Home builders are doing great. The investor money flows into the equity funds has increased and is running pretty good. So when you have all that stuff coming to fruition, what you really have is a condition where this could go on for a while. And now I'm not saying that there's not going to be some pullbacks, but I got to tell you, this is one of the most constructive markets that I've seen in a long, long time. And it seems to be a much healthier market than the pandemic-driven 2020 market, which was a great market to be invested and trade in, but it just wasn't as real. And I don't know how to explain what that means to you, but I think you get what I mean. It means that it's not driven by injections of gajillions of dollars. Maybe some of it is, but the truth of the matter is this feels a lot more real than the pandemic-driven 2020 market. So we haven't seen any red lights. We're very bullish, and we're going forward on that. All right, so let's talk about, let's see here. Let's talk about the 15 stocks. Let's talk about those for you, because that's a big deal. And I know it's going to be something of value to you. You're going to love it. Okay, let's talk about non-tech, 5 great stocks. ON. This is On Holdings. This is a tennis shoe company. This is basically Roger Federer and his crew. I'm here to tell you, I think that stock's going to double over the next year or two. So the symbol is ON. Coinbase, COIN, is the symbol. We think that there's something developing here with the ETFs that are supposedly going to hopefully get approved by the SEC that allow institutions and just about everybody on the planet to get exposed to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was recently judged as sort of given a free pass, basically, by the SEC, and that has opened the door for people like BlackRock and Deutsche Bank and a lot of other big fund management companies to make applications to the SEC to have an ETF that is directly related to Bitcoin. And this should create tremendous demand for Bitcoin. And once these ETFs are approved, Bitcoin's hanging out right now around $30,000 per Bitcoin. And we think that maybe we could see 40, 45,000 on Bitcoin there. So that's Coinbase, COIN. Ferrari, okay, the symbol for Ferrari is RACE. This kind of goes back to my theory of having millions of millionaires out there now. There are millions of millionaires, and a lot of them want Ferraris more than they can make. So this is a beast of a stock that is a non-tech stock. This is a luxury stock. What can I tell you? People want Ferraris. There's not enough of them. They're gonna do very well. ELF Beauty, ELF Beauty, symbol is ELF. This is a company that in the beauty space is growing like a weed. hitting on all cylinders. So the symbol there is ELF. You've got cosmetics, high margins. We like that. Finally, you've got Shake Shack. Symbol is SHAK. This is your fifth non-tech stock. Symbol again is SHAK. Shake Shack. All right, so let's talk to you about some technology beasts. These are the guys who are up and coming, rocking and rolling and making all the money. I'm going to skip the Microsofts and Googles and Apples of the world because everybody talks about those at cocktail parties. And so that doesn't add any value to you, right? But let's talk about some that you may have never heard of before. One of them is Workday, WDAY. The second one is Mongo Database, and the symbol there is MDB. The third one is Snowflake, NOW. The fourth one is ServiceNow, and the symbol is NOW. And the fifth one is a company called Atlassian, but the symbol there is TEAM, TEAM. So those are your five beasts that, now keep in mind, these are big companies. We're talking billions in market cap. We're talking billions in revenue. But you've got a company with doing $1 billion in revenue that's growing at 30, 40, 50% a year. That's what I call a beast, okay? So those are our five beasts for you to look at. When you look at the descriptions of all of those, and you can see everything on carnivoretrading.com, you know, I'm telling you, when you read the descriptions of what those five companies do, you're going to start to get a sense. You're going to say, how did I not know who this company is? I mean, this is a company with 10, 20, $30 billion market cap, and it's growing at 30 or 40 or 50% a year in revenue, and they're that profitable. I can't believe I didn't know about them. All right, so let's talk about five that are not in that category of beast. They're smaller, but some might be a little techie, some aren't. Okay, so number one would be Shopify. They just signed a bunch of deals, and they look like they're a stock that's on the run. SHOP, Shopify. Another one is Transmedics, TMDX. Transmedics, these guys have a proprietary product that helps people with organ transplants. What it does is basically takes an organ from an accident victim, puts it in what is like a human-like condition in a human-like environment, and it preserves the organ a lot longer, and it can be flown almost anywhere in the world. So organ transplants are being completely changed because of Transmedics, TMDX. Very, very important company for healthcare, very important for any hospital in the United States that wants to, that is in the organ transplant business. Okay, TGLS, Technoglass. This is a very, sounds like something super tech, but it's really not that technology oriented. They supply all kinds of stuff to construction and engineering firms. So TGLS is another one. Duolingo. Now, some of you might have heard about Duolingo. This teaches you how to speak different languages. DUOL is the symbol for Duolingo, and it's got an incredible app. Everyone loves using the app. It's almost addictive. It's a social media integrated with what they do, and people are just hooked on it, and their membership is growing like crazy, and the millions of people now. And I got to tell you, they keep hitting their earnings. They keep beating their earnings. It's a beast of a stock. It just kind of, it does move around a lot. So you've got to be willing to just sock it away and do what you're going to do, or trade it, whatever you like. Finally, the last one is Shift for Payments. Now the symbol is FOUR. There's the four, Shift for Payments, FOUR. There is a loose arrangement there with Shift for Payments. This is payment processing and more. But they've got some relationships that are pretty powerful. Elon Musk, for one, some of his companies, anywhere that somebody's signing up for one of Elon's satellite phones or something. And this is where you can start to buy things through, and it'll be all transacted through Shift for Payments. That rounds out the five of the higher growth, higher octane, smaller companies that we think will kind of rise to become the beasts eventually. And so there you have it. So there's your 15 stocks, and kind of a rundown of the news of the day, and also what's been happening in the market and why we're getting this fantastic bounce here today, and why we're not negative about it. So I appreciate the time. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you guys. I appreciate Mark Schaftlein and his producers for allowing me to spend the time with you. And we hope to see you at carnivoretrading.com. Come on over, become part of the family, start to learn about, you can do this, okay? We don't manage money for a living. We only manage our own money. But what we do is we allow you to see what we're doing with our money, and you can decide whether you want to do that or not in your no commission trading account or investment account. We hope to see you there, and we hope to see you eating steak with us every night. Thanks very much.